So welcome back for the part 2. So project management process. Here we will study what are the processes for managing your project step by step. The first step, identify and frame the problem or opportunity. In this phase, the fundamental need is identified. The need is then quantified with respect to factors such as its size, shape, and extent. This leads to the creation of a requirement document which illustrates the need as in much details as possible. Okay. First thing I want to tell you that in this step-by-step management process, we will take one industry and I will give you the examples of that industry, same industry, so that there will be a clear picture in your mind of whole project. So let's start with the first. I will take the telecommunication industry and all these steps I will implement in the telecommunication industry so that you can clearly understand. So the first step is identify the problem. What this mean? I'll give you an example. In a telecommunication, there is a vendor company. What is vendor? Which provide equipment or services like Huawei, ZTE, Ericsson. These are the telecom companies which provide equipment to the telecommunication service providers like Ufone, Moblink, and other in our country. So, for example, a vendor company salesperson whose main job is to bring the projects. So, how he will bring the project? First, he will do the step one, identify the problem or opportunity. How he will identify? He will go to the customer. Who is the customer? To whom they sell their equipment or services, like telecommunication company like Ufone, Moblink. Whenever I will say customer, this means companies like Ufone, Moblink, and Zone, these. And whenever I will say vendor, this means Huawei, ZTE, or Ericsson, these type of companies. Vendor is someone who gives the equipment, and the customer is someone who buy that and give services to the local people. Okay, so how step one will be done? A vendor company person, he will go to the customer just for a talk, just on a lunch, on a dinner. He will meet him, he will talk him, and while talking, he will try to talk about the business. Like for example, the vendor person will say that in particular area of the city nowadays signals are very low. People feel very too much issues in calling or watching high speed videos. After saying that, the customer will then say, yes, we already know that, and maybe we are planning to use some or buy some new equipment for that area, but not now, maybe after a few months. So, after saying this, the vendor company person will note this that there is a problem, and our customer, maybe he will work on that problem after some time. But before that time come, he take that opportunity and he start working on that my customer has this issue, and what proper or suitable solution I can give to my customers. So this is the first thing, that identify the problem. You have to find the problem yourself so that your customer, before asking of your customer, you will give him the solution. So identify the problem, first step. Second step, identify and define the best project solution. So this is the all theory which you can use. I will only give you the example so that you have an clear understanding. Identify, and so in the step 1 he understand that our customer has a problem, but he don't know that this is the problem. Customer don't know Customer only know that okay, only few little bit issues of calling and this thing, but the vendor company already understand the problem, that there is a problem, something going around in few areas of that city. Now the second is he have to give the solution, and not ordinary solution. He have to give him the best solution. Like for example, if a customer has a problem in one area of the city, and the problem is that due to crowded or so many people there, the signal quality is not good, because a lot of people are using mobile at the same time in that area. So best solution that the vendor engineer can give is, he can offer, if that area is using 3G, he can offer 4G solution, or he can offer some extra equipment which they can install already tower, or already tower is there and they can install that, because it will also save the money of the customer. So this type of perfect or best solution he have to give to the customer. First step was he find out the problem, then he give the best solution. Now come to the third step: identify task and resource requirements. Once the project solution is identified, we are ready to move to the next phase, which is to identify the task and the resource requirement. This is also referred to as scope management. In this step, the team identifies all the work to be done. Now they find the solution problem in their first step. They also give the best solution in the second step. Now the third step. For example, they give the solution in the second step that they have such type of equipment which is low cost, and they no need to make another tower or expensive. They will just install that equipment and the signal problem will be solved. Now in the third step, they will plan and they will do some management, that how they will do that, what are the tasks they have to do. They have to uh, do any type of construction work, or if the construction area is already enough, then do they need some extra power, or they need any manpower, or they need any cables, they need to do any, what type, I want to say that what type of tasks they have to do in order to complete that solution whatever they have given to their customer. Now the fourth step: prepare the control schedule and resource allocation plan. Creating the project schedule consists of several steps. First, a network or logic diagram is prepared to display the optimum sequencing of the task. Next, the length of the time required to complete each task, its duration. So now they know that in step 3, they identify the task and resources they need. Now in step 4, they have to schedule those things via diagram, by charts, that how long each activity will take. For example, the space of the tower is very little. So the first task is to buy the or lease the land nearby that tower. So this is the first. So they said that okay, in first 20 days we will buy that land. In the next 15 days we will do some construction work there. Then the next 10 days we will do some type of basement work. So these are step by step how they will do their task. In step 3 they said that what task we have to do, and in step 4 they will do how and at what time duration we will do this. So they will estimate this all things in step 4. Now the step 5, estimate project cost and prepare a project budget. In this step, the project manager coordinates the preparation of a cost estimated for the project. A variety of methods may be used to estimate cost depending upon the level of details that exist at that time. The overall project cost is allocated to individual elements of the project, thus creating a budget for each major work element. This budget is used to monitor and control cost expenditures during project execution. So the step 1 was identify problem. In step 2 they give the solution, and then in step 3 they identify the task, that what type of task they have to do to complete the solution. In step 4 they make the schedule, that how they will do in which time frame. Now the step 5 is how much cost they will. Why the cost is most important? Because cost is the most important thing in the project, because they have to complete the task within the given amount of the customer, or sometime in less amount, and they also have to buy the equipment and all the expenses of the project. So they do some budgeting or cost management in there. And why they estimate means because they don't know that maybe sometime they estimate 100 and the 100 USD, and the cost, real cost, it will be 120. So estimation cost will be always not the exact figure, but it will be roughly the same figure. So they will do the cost management, that on each task what we are doing in this time period, how much money or cost will be on that task. Step 6, analyze risk and establish stakeholders relationships. What this step means? This is very important. Once the project team has identified the work, prepared the schedule, and estimated the cost, the three fundamental components of planning process are complete. You can say prepare the schedule, identify the work, prepare the schedule, and estimate the cost. All these main things are complete. Now what is the next step? That is step 6. This is an excellent time to identify and try to deal with anything that might poses a threat to the successful completion of the project. That is called risk management. So you can read all this. I can explain you in my words what is step 6. Whenever all these first 5 steps are completed, now they know that in how long time duration we will complete this project, what will be the task we are doing, and how long it will be taking, and how much cost it will be bearing. So all this is completed. Now they want to work on the risk management. Why risk management? Risk is something which will happen and it can affect your project. For example, there is a construction work going on, and they plan to complete that construction work in 6 days. But suddenly on the third day, there was a very heavy rain, and due to the rain, 2 days they can't work. So this was a very big risk for the project, because they have to complete the task in 6 days, and they were going all as per the schedule, but suddenly in the middle 2 days were rain, heavy rain, and project work was stopped. So now they cannot complete the task in the 6 days. They can't complete the task, and the cost will also increase. So in order to avoid this type of mishaps, risk management is done. In risk management, when we will study the risk management in our coming lectures in detail, you will see that there are few types of risks. The first one is like we know that this will be happening in the future, like if there is a construction work is going on near the river bank, and we know that after 1 month or 2 months there will be heavy rain or there will be flood. We know this will happen, so we will do something in order to avoid those things. We know that rain will be there, so what we will do some type of indoor task in those days so that our time will be saved. When the rain will stop, we will do outside work. Or if the roads are issues, supply chain, so we will ask the supplier to send us the goods before the rain or before that period, so that it will save our time. So this is one type of risk. Second type of risk is something we know that this will happen, but we can't do anything on that. For that, we are always ready. Now I will give you example. For example, the project is to make a very high tower, and workers are working on that. We will do precautions for them. There is a QC department, but we know that there will be rain and it will be very difficult for a worker to go up there and work there. It can be dangerous for him, but we can't do anything. Even it is dangerous, the only thing we can do is save the life. And we will say that if the rain will happen, we will not do the tower work, we will do some other construction indoor work. But if the rain will not there, then we will do the tower work. So this type of risk is that we know it will happen or maybe not happen, but we are ready for it. If it will happen, we will do this. If it will not happen, we will do this. This all details of risk management we will study in our coming lectures. So the main purpose of step 6 is about the risk management. We list all the risks, and then one by one we will say that if this risk will come, what will be our reaction, and this planning will help us to complete our task on time. Now the step 7, maintain control and communicate as needed during execution. You'll spend most of your time in this step. During project execution, people are carrying out the task and processes. Information is being reported through regular team meetings. The team uses this information to maintain control over the direction of the project and takes corrective action as needed. Communication is the most important thing, no matter in a project or in any ever everyday work. Why? In a project, different teams are working. Some are for the construction work, some for electricity work, some for signal work, some for transportation work. All are working on their own tasks, and they have to meet their own requirement. If there is no communication between these teams, then it can affect the project. How it can affect the project? For example, construction team is working on as per its schedule, and they are working nice. Okay, they are not working outdoor, they are working indoor, and they are doing as per their schedule. But the transport team, whose duty is to bring the raw material and give to the construction team, they have some issue with their supply chain, or not issue, the material they are bringing is not good enough or not as per the quality they need. But if these both teams will not communicate with each other, maybe they will continue working indoor construction team, and suddenly the supply chain will stop. Why? Maybe there is a road issues, maybe there are some other issues, So it's very important for the teams to collaborate with each other, communicate with each other, and discuss their problems so that the construction team, they will know that in next 1 or 2 days there will be some problem with our supply chain team. So how we can handle that problem? We will use some different task, or we will use some additional task in order to avoid those mishaps. So communication is very important, and especially the project manager duty is to communicate with all the teams and try to find out the gaps if there are some gaps. Step 8, manage to an orderly closeout. This step is often characterized by the development of a punch list. A punch list is a relatively small list of tasks that the project team needs to complete in order to close out the project. The project manager must keep team members focused at this critical time. The last step is step 8, closing of the project. Most important step. Why most important? Because if this step is not done correctly, then the company can lose the project money, because customer will not give you the money till the project is delivered nicely and as per their requirements. So there are, each company have their own lists. They have to check the quality of the project, they have to check all the requirements which customer gave. So project team need to complete all these things, and a project manager is responsible to check those lists and check that whether the project is completed as per the requirement before handing over the project to the customer. So the step 8 is most important. So these are the 8 steps which we have to complete before handing over the project. So let's revise one by one very fast. First, we have to identify the problem. What is the problem of our customer? Second, we have to give the best solution to our customer. Third, we have to find that what tasks we need to do in order to complete that solution. Number 5, then we have to schedule. Okay, we have 5 tasks. How we will do these tasks? How much time each task will take? The fifth step, how much cost on each step we will it will be there. Sixth step, what will be the risk that can affect our project? Seventh step, communication. Communicate with all the team members. And eighth step is nicely close out the project or hand over the project to the customer. So the party is the role of the project manager. This we will do in the third part of our video.